Hauraki Big Show with Jace, Mike and Keyzie. Tune in weekdays at 4 on Radio Hauraki.
Oasis on the Hauraki Big Show. Monday evening with old Keyzie, Mogey and Pugs son. And over the weekend we were down in Hokitika, Wild Foods Festival. We gave away flights and accommodation for 2 fantastic winners. And the guys that won, Mike and Chris were their names. Very easy to remember.
Yeah.
For Mike
I'm trying to remember which was which. I think Chris is the guy that won it.
That's right. Chris is the guy that won it, that was wearing the fedora, and Mike was his mate with the beard. Now,
yes.
They were champions. They were great winners.
were.
Perfect vibe, and we have a knack for selecting great winners that just get on well with everyone. However, they did tuck in quite a bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a few beers. I mean, Chris, you know, once he got a few in him, all he would sort of go on about was how much he loved his wife and how she would mean everything to him and all that sort of stuff. Just kidding. He never mentioned her once. But they certainly got some beers in them. Now, when we first saw them, we ran into them at the Kuru Lounge down in Christchurch before we boarded the flight to Hokitika. They were digging into beers then. Now, that was about 8:30.
No, it wasn't even that. No, it was later than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was, earlier than that. It was like 10 to 8, I remember.
Yeah.
So it hadn't even hit 8 yet.
Pretty early. And then we got on the flight, got to our hotel, all of that, and then we went to Stumpers Bar and Cafe for the show, and they turned up, and I was like, God, what are we going to get here? And they were good as gold.
Great.
They were awesome.
Stone cold sober. They were completely fine.
Yeah.
And about 90 minutes or so later, cross-eyed.
Completely.
Do you know when you're like having a very friendly, very happy, not a nuisance at all, but absolutely bung-eyed. Responsibly.
Yeah, and they came up and had the same conversation with me about 5 times.
Yeah, good chat. And so happy. It's so stoked. Like very happy, responsibly, had a couple of beers type people. Then, of course, ran into them the next day and asked them how they went. Mike had gone to somebody's house party.
Yeah.
And then sort of made his way home and lost his jandals.
They went to they did karaoke at the local Razza.
Yes, they
did.
Yeah.
But yeah, he lost his shoes. That wasn't great for him. And then they just sort of hooked in with us that next day, didn't they?
And that's right. The Saturday we're at the Wild Foods Festival. They were a bit worse for wear, but soon found their feet again.
They did.
Quite quickly. Next minute, cross-eyed again. Our flight was at 6. We decided to leave the Wild Foods at 5, pick them up from their accommodation, and then go to the airport. They left Wild Foods at probably 3:30, so they had an hour and a half until we got there.
Well, now, I hadn't seen them. So I'd seen them. They were sitting with us at our table at the event there, and they were good as gold.
Yeah.
And then they disappeared, and then we went to pick them up. Out comes Mike.
Yeah.
And now he's getting an extra few Ks on. He's going side to side. He's doing a bit of weaving. He comes out to the car. I've opened the door for him.
He staggers out.
He comes out to the car.
I haven't heard this yarn,
He comes out to the car. He jumps in with his bag, puts his bag on the lap. I'm in the back seat, and he closes the door. He doesn't wait for Chris to come out. He goes,
he's ready to go.
He says, I tried waking him up. He's asleep in there, but I think he's coming. It's like,
what?
I was like, right, well, do you want to go and make sure, man? And you just chuck your bag in the back. And he gets out, opens the door, gets out, leaves his bag in there. Then
Staggers back to the room.
Stagger goes back in to find Chris, comes back out again, coming back out. He's got Chris with him this time, so he's gone good there. He comes back up to the car, starts jumping back in, tell him to put his bag in the car.
In the back.
He get in the boot, sorry. Then Mike jumps in next to me, and then Chris gets in, and Chris says, now Chris has had a nap.
Yeah.
Now, it turns out what's happened is they'd bought a box of beers the day before, or at least Mike had. And Chris says to him, we're never going to get through that. So Mike wanted to prove him wrong, which he did. So together they did. So they went back, had a few more beers, and passed out before we got there.
Okay.
So that was good times. And then, anyway, Chris gets in the car. He's like, Mogey, I thought you were going home on Saturday night, but you're still here. I was like, what? He goes, I thought you were going home on Saturday night, but you're still here.
Yeah, just to clarify, it's 5 p.m. on Saturday.
5 p.m. on Saturday. And I was trying to digest it because I thought, nobody in the world is that hammered. And what I worked out was he'd had a sleep, so therefore he thought it was Sunday.
He thought it was Sunday morning at like 8 a.m.
Because their original flight was for Sunday, wasn't it?
And then they moved it to the Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So they left with us. So I said to him, I think the problem here, man, is you've had about 1,000 beers since the last time I saw you. And he's like, yeah. And then we got to the airport, and about an hour later, he came up to me and goes, man, you must think I'm an absolute punisher. and it took him about an hour to work out how wrong he'd got it.
He thought it was 8 a.m. Sunday, and it was
Oh
still
my
Saturday.
God.
But once again, great humans,
Lovely
and they
boys,
just
lovely
got
boys.
stuck in at Hokitika like we all do.
The Hauraki Big Show with Jason Hoyte, Mike Minogue, and Keyzie.
It is Low from Cracker on the Hauraki Big Show. 5 minutes to 5 o'clock this Tuesday afternoon with Keyzie, Mogey, and Pugs. We're just discussing the fact that Mike is slowly going blind.
Yeah.
He's had to up the size of the font on his phone. Some advice coming through on 3483, and keep it coming, by the way. Everyone that texts through in the draw for a $50 night-and-day vouchers. Night-and-day voucher, sorry. I went to lunch with my uncles. Both of them took a picture of the menu and zoomed in. So at least nowadays, you can do that. You can take it. Let's turn the flash off, though, because that's humiliating.
I don't think that was meant to sound like a good idea. That's a humiliator as well.
But at least you've got stuff with you, so you can get away with it if you're not wearing glasses.
Yeah, I don't want to have to manage it and sort of... I mean, there's things that have come up recently, and I think it was on a menu too, where I was in that situation, and I just couldn't see what it was.
Right.
I just said I can't see that at all.
So what'd you do?
I'm still hungry.
Well, here's a good piece of advice around getting the glasses. Get yourself a pair of John Kerwin Humiliators.
That is good advice.
Really big, chunky ones.
Yeah.
And this person, Mikey G, who sent this through, he's also texting off the full size on his phone, and it's extremely embarrassing.
Do I have to also wear the freaky jackets and all that sort of stuff as well? Okay.
The whole thing, and your cool hat as well.
The Hauraki Big Show with Jace, Mike, and Keyzie. Tune in weekdays at 4 on Radio Hauraki.
Da-douche. Little bit of Jimi Hendrix there with Foxy Lady here on Radio Hauraki. You are listening to Pugs, Keyzie, and old Mogey. Backbone. # backbone.
Right.
Coming up after 6 o'clock, we'll be doing a little bit of what's on the TV with Keyzie for dinner.
That's not
if you've got any meal suggestions, flick them through on 3483 and we'll get to them a little bit later on. Bloody excited about that. Hey, Keyzie, how come your nose is so big, brother?
Okay. If you've just joined us, that was Mike Minogue, who has the second biggest nose on the Big Show. Mine's third, by the way.
Yeah.
Learning how to anchor. Pugs, what do you think of that? Because I thought before, I felt like you were a bit rushed and a bit panicky.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's live radio, man. It's going right across the world.
It'd be good to get the segments down at just whenever you're comfortable.
Why is that?
Huh?
Well,
Like
you
what?
can't
Just the names and stuff.
like you kind of what you did there was you accidentally crossed between two segments that are vastly different. What's on telly with old Mogey and what's for tea with me, Keyzie.
Oh.
And you've accidentally put them together.
Did I mix those up?
You did.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, we are doing What's for Tea New Zealand, so 3483.
Oh, yes.
What do you haven't? We'll get
There
into
you
that
go.
later on.
So true.
Other than that, and then you were trying to get the sort of catchphrase, your backbones and your dedouge and
So
stuff.
I know I missed Moab.
Wow,
And I should have put that in there as well.
Well, maybe
because
even
people
two.
love that.
Yeah.
People love
they
that.
do love that.
Someone here on 3483 also, what's the time and date, Mogey? You got to reiterate every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
tell
well,
them
this
the
is
time.
the thing, though. But if they're texting me, that's right in front of them on their phone. So, I mean, you can...
But if you tell them
I might
that,
meant to do everything.
no, well, kind of.
Well, if we came out of it and I said, bit of Jimi Hendrix there with Foxy Lady. Welcome back to Radio Hauraki, 5:26 on a Tuesday. Gets a bit, you know. I just say, if you want the time and the date, it's on your phone.
Well, you could say that instead.
Yeah.
So as long as we're reminding people
One or the other.
of the time and date. Well, actually, what I thought would be quite a good exercise, Mogey, who is still learning about how to be an anchor. Once again, you've got the anchor who comes in and out of the breaks there. You've got the bloke on the panel, the person on the panel who's running all the knobs and the buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
That's usually me.
Button boy, admin loser.
Admin boy. This week, it's Pug Son.
Admin loser. Yeah, nice.
And then you've got sit in the corner, being a pain in the ass guy, which is old Mogey's role. So Pugs is fresh out of B school.
Yeah.
It's so fresh.
So he's got all the latest.
Barely graduated.
He's got all the latest sort of tips and tricks. So I think Pugs, do you want to run the simulation again and just show Mogey?
Yeah.
What a modern day sort of youth announcer sounds like?
Yeah. So this is sort of, this will kind of be the kind of school that they're teaching at broadcasting schools around the country. Okay, so you
Do you
want
want to come out of a song?
Yeah, come out of the old
Yeah,
chilies
I'll
there.
do that. I'll do the simulation again, obviously.
Okay.
We'll just give it a crack here. Okay, here we go.
Just when you're ready, Pugs.
Yeah, g'day, you legends. It's old Pugs son here with none other than...
Hoyte.
He's not here, but you've got old Pugs son. Backbone, hashtag Backbone. Give me a text on 3483 for a $50 night and day voucher if you'd like to. You're listening to the you're listening to the big show. Here's the Fooies.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So that's
so he's got some buttons he's pushing, but
Yeah.
other than that, same as me.
Very
similar. Very similar approach.
It is. But the good thing is that was about, what, $40,000-$50,000 worth of student loan went into what he just did.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you're just coming in here.
Yeah, I've just wandered in off the street.
And you're already at the same level as Pugs.
The Hauraki Big Show with Jace, Mike and Keyzie. Tune in weekdays at 4 on Radio Hauraki.